The boogeyman is a mythical creature used by adults to frighten their children into good behavior. It is, in a sense, the personification of evil, and is known to lurk in closets or under beds, ready to take away any misbehaving child. However, it's just a fantasy, right? Well, I wouldn't be so sure, because today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scary boogeyman encounters. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, we have Locked in the Closet. This creepy tale comes to us from Sassy Girl over on Your Ghost Stories. They tell the story of the time during summer break when her mum had gone to work and her aunt had come over to babysit herself and her sister. She was around 8 years old at the time and her cousin a year younger. Her sister was almost 4 years older than herself. It was a hot day, so they decided to play inside, with the group settling on hide and seek. Her sister wanted to start, so the rest of them began to hide. They wanted to hide on the shelf in one of the closets, knowing the sister would never find them there. However, they couldn't get up, so they settled themselves at the back of the closet behind clothes and shoes. They waited, and as they did, they heard something to the right of them. It was a little sound like something shifted, or someone shifted. They ignored it and continued playing. Then the door to the upstairs opened. The sound once again was heard, but they ignored it. Then someone entered the room, and they struggled not to laugh. They stood there for a moment. The shadows of their feet could be seen under the door. Then they heard the door lock. They both jumped up and yelled for it to be opened, but the knob wouldn't turn. It wouldn't even budge. However, the sister kept persisting that the door wasn't locked. She had never locked it. She assumed they were holding onto the knob. Finally, they all realized the door was stuck. They locked and unlocked the door, but nothing. However, finally the door swung open on its own accord. They never hid in the closet again. Later that night, they had their dad check all the doors. He tried every single way he could, yet he couldn't find anything wrong with the door. So what exactly was inside the closet with them? The boogeyman? Perhaps. Coming in at number 4, we have Strange Noises. This story comes to us from Experience PSA, who tells of the time around a week ago, at the time of posting, when they awoke at around 1 AM by a strange tapping noise. It was a fast-paced tap with a tiny metallic ring to it. They sat up, attempting to locate the source of the noise. However, it continued as they held their breath to get a better sense of where it was coming from. After a minute, they realized the tapping was coming from inside the room, more precisely their desk. They had on their desk one of those Newton's cradle things. As a time passer, you know, the ones with the balls. You pick up one ball, swing it, hits the others, and it bounces back and forth until it never ends, until the world ends. This was the source of the noise. They sat in awe for a few moments, with the cradle not losing energy. In the end, they stopped the ball themselves and went back to sleep. However, 2 nights later at 2:27 AM, the tapping once again began. This time, they stood up and stopped the cradle, mockingly stating, "Very funny, spirit," and then went back to bed. An hour later, though, a dull hum could be heard. It continued for half an hour until a slight crash sounded on the desk. They got up to investigate and discovered the cradle had been knocked over, and their notebook was now open with a bend in one of the pages. Creepy indeed. What do you guys think? Angry boogeyman who is not a fan of Newton's cradle? To be fair, I love those things. I could watch them go back and forth all day. In at number 3, we have Grandma Drowned the Boogeyman. Another story coming to us from Your Ghost Stories. This one was posted by Valkyrie Cry, who tells the story of the time her grandmother supposedly drowned the boogeyman. She begins by stating that it was 1946 in rural Kentucky. The twins, her older sisters, were 5 years old at the time and living with their mother in a small cabin on their grandmother's property. They were quiet, well-behaved children. That was until the arrival of the boogeyman. It came out of nowhere, the children yelling in the night, screaming that the boogeyman was there. Now, of course, their mother always assured them that the boogeyman wasn't real, and even if he were, they had nothing to worry about. They were well-behaved children. However, little did the children know the mother was also afraid. On several occasions, doors that were left closed were now open, and the children's rooms would often smell of rotten eggs. There were even occasions where she discovered weird drag marks in the dirt outside the window, as if someone with a limp had come that way. Privately, she told her father that she feared that the boogeyman might be some homeless person lurking about the house. Days dragged by, the boogeyman taking its toll on the family, mostly due to lack of sleep. So one day the grandmother decided to consult with Aunt Sylvie about the situation, resulting in the grandmother consulting with a known witch. The grandmother came home, ushering everyone into their rooms, remarking that she will deal with the boogeyman. From the next room she could be heard yelling, "See this broom, you devil, I'm going to beat you with it. Now you get out of here in the name of Jesus and never come back." After a short while, the grandmother returned, stating that they needn't worry anymore because she chased him down to the river where he drowned. To be honest, let's hope it's the boogeyman, otherwise grandmother killed an innocent man. Coming in at number 2, the closet. This story comes to us from orphans on Your Ghost Stories. They write of a time a few years back when they were babysitting for their aunt and had just put their cousin to sleep. They state that they turned around and began walking down the hall into the living room when they suddenly heard their cousin screaming. She found her crying, saying that she saw the boogeyman. She put her back to sleep and left once again. However, 20 minutes later, the screaming resumed. She went into the bedroom and saw her crying once again. However, this time she heard a crash coming from inside the walk-in closet. The handle began turning back and forth on its own, and the door slowly creaked open. She quickly picks up her cousin and ran. She never told her aunt what happened. Would anyone really believe her? What do you think? The boogeyman? The wind? Anything else? Creaky door? And finally, coming in at number 1, we have the boogeyman. Now, this story comes to us from It's Pixie on Your Ghost Stories, who tells of the time she was staying with her parents in a quiet suburb in South Africa. Now, the story itself occurs when she was just 13 years old, and she says it still haunts her to this day. She states that she remembers waking up in the early hours one morning, feeling panicked and afraid, feeling like someone was watching her, as though she wasn't alone. She didn't move but scanned the room. She didn't see anything. A few days passed with no occurrences. However, one night she woke up again with the same fear and panic. She scanned the room, and this time she saw something. It was sitting on her desk in front of her bed. It was small, almost like a garden gnome. It had yellow eyes, sharp little teeth, and pointed fingers. She recalled it just staring at her. She had never felt so scared in her life. She screamed and her dad came running in the room. Of course, he didn't believe what she saw. Following that, she was scared to go to bed alone. She could always feel it watching her. And not only that, but it also began scratching the underside of her bed at night, once again waking her up. This time she saw the creature on her desk, however it was now smiling, the most evil smile she had ever seen. According to the user, this went on for years. Nothing she did ever made it go away. One night, like all the previous nights, she awoke to find him sitting on her desk again. She closed her eyes and covered her face, but she knew he was still there. Then she felt him jump onto the bed. She didn't dare move. She could feel him scratching her arm. Then she screamed. The following morning, she found 4 scratches on her arm. Time passed and things got better. However, when the user turned 18, something else happened. She was staying at a friend's house when suddenly everyone awoke in the middle of the night to her friend's boyfriend screaming. She knew the creature was there. The boy began yelling, "The boogeyman is here. The boogeyman is here." He saw the exact same creature as her. She ends the story with, "I'm 26 now and I haven't seen or felt it again after that night." Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with that list? Do you have any boogeyman stories of your own? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 scary demons you shouldn't summon in front of a mirror. Cody Walker said, "You're forgetting the worst demon ever, my ex-girlfriend." Well, Cody, that's savage. That's straight savagery. I'm sure your girlfriend's lovely. Unless she's not, then yes, I'll banish her to hell. Nuclear Gaming said, "You shouldn't summon Lucifer." I mean, I thought that one was a given, along with Satan, hence why I didn't include those 2 obvious choices on the list. Brialai said, "I clicked on this video and immediately my quiet dark room started making creaky noises. There are no mirrors, so I can only blame Lucy." Yes, everything is my fault, and I take 100% credit for that. Thank you. Gabit Gaming said, "In Florida, we have a witch that will come to you in your dreams, and if you can't wake up or escape, she'll drag you to hell with her. She sounds like a dear friend. Would love to visit her. Send me her name and her number. Assel? ? YDJFC sponsorship said, "Can I get a shout out?" You just did. You're welcome. Desolation of Encrypted Tome said, "We love you, Lucy." Thanks, I love me too. Glad we sorted that one out. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, I'll see you later.